I haven't played any fan games in ages, so I searched the internet for a good Pokemon fan game and I stumbled across Pokemon Unbound. Pokemon Unbound is a beloved fan game and has its very own story. It's the game surrounding Hoopa, which has its own new and improved features from vanilla Pokemon, and I can't wait to get started. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, as only 2% of my viewers are subscribed, and it would mean the world to me if you hit that button. I have nothing else to say, so let's begin. The game starts with some prologue, highlighting a war between the new region Boreas and Kalos. To end the war, Hoopa was summoned and sent the Kalos army back to Kalos. The ultimate weapon as well as the story with AZ and Floette was also brought up. Back in the Boreas region, Hoopa attacks the Boreas kingdom, and to subdue it, the Boreas king uses the powers of the bird trio and the Arceus plates to seal its power and revert Hoopa to its bounded form. 15 years later, a scene that depicts a man throwing a Pokeball into a river as he is seemingly confronted by someone hidden. Before he leaves, he tells Hoopa to watch over his son. I wonder who that is. The Pokeball the man threw away ends up at a beach and actually contained Hoopa. This guy in the hood finds it and states that it is time for the Eternal Flower to rise again. The Eternal Flower being the world destruction inducing weapon, otherwise simply known as the ultimate weapon. In present day, the player character, which is me, or in this game, Random, suddenly gets teleported by Hoopa right into the evil team's hideout. You can't even get good sleep nowadays. I immediately get put to sleep, or in other words, laid the fuck out and imprisoned. I do learn that there is another guy in prison with me. Hoopa then walks up to me, or floats up to me, or floats to me. I don't know why that was so confusing. The man from the beach shows up and tells Hoopa that it can use its rings without his permission and reminds Hoopa that he is its rightful trainer. It doesn't seem Hoopa obeys him though. As I explore my prison, I found the other guy that's in prison with me trying to leave. He gets pushed aside as he has no Pokemon. I get to name this guy, and well, I named him Dealer. And well, it's a drug joke, but for the life of me I can't remember why I named him that. He apparently lives in the same town as me, and as we explore the place, we find 3 very strong Pokemon that turn out to be the starter options for this game. Given the choices Gible, Beldum, and Larvitar, I chose Beldum because it's cool and that's it. It's hard to choose from these 3 and go wrong. I named Beldum Red X and team up with my dealer to crack down the guard. Get it? Because I cracked. I deeply apologize. As I escape, this cool dude in red shows up and gets the guard to retrieve a package. Some sort of shady stuff is going on and I'm heavily invested. The hideout seems to be nearby my hometown, so I head there and meet up with my dealer and Professor Log. My dealer actually did errands for this professor, so I'm now questioning what type of professor he is. I have my first rival fight where I continuously metal bash his Gible to win. My dealer isn't fond of the professor as he storms off. The professor asked me to retrieve a package from Bellintown, but there seems to be a trouble as this yellow-haired dude just straight up steals the package. I follow them and it turns out in the package there's a couple Master Balls which they take and use to capture Articuno. I tried to stop them by taking on the grunts but only managed to get back the package without Master Balls. I tell the professor about the situation and well, he replies with the region might be in grave danger. Not the first thing you want to hear as a new trainer, but we move. He tells me to meet his old friend in Dresco Town and we set off again. Tracking my way through Icicle Cave, I run into my dealer and beat him in a battle. He tells me to take part in the gym challenge and that the next gym utilizes powders, whatever that means. He also hands me the safety goggles, which is nice of him. I catch my next team member's wheel and named it Tusk because it reminded me of Johnny Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, his stand ability being named Tusk. I make my way into Dresco Town and enter the gym and yo, this guy is probably one of my dealer's clients. That's some real shit, man. I beat him pretty easily and get the Leaf Badge. I go ahead and meet up with Professor Log's friend and find out the professor's first name is Euler. Get it? Because Log, while also being in line with the naming convention of Pokemon professors being named after a form of wood, but also meaning logarithm, is a math joke. I'm getting old. Anyways, the professor's friend Arthur shares that if the bird trio were brought to a place called the Ruins of Void, then Hoopa's power would be unleashed once again, and that's a bad thing. The plan right now is to save Moltres from this fate of being captured by the evil team. The grandson of Arthur, Jax, goes ahead to save Moltres, and after some deliberation, we go ahead and follow suit as well. As I set off the Cinder Volcano, Red X evolves into a Metang. I caught up with Jax, but it turns out the shadows had already seized Moltres. Ivory, who seems to be the one that caught Moltres, is given time to flee, while Marlon battles Jax and I to stall time for Ivory. We vowed to try and stop them, but to no avail. We returned back to the professors to regroup and come up with a new plan. It is decided that Jax and I will be splitting up. Jax will go meet a couple who have intel on the prison bottle, while I head to Thundercat Mountain to save Zapdos. I'll be honest with you, the skill level required for the two tasks are wildly different. They just handed me the much more difficult job. Anyhow, as I continue my journey, I find a lady offering one of the Unova starters, and considering the underwhelming fire types in the volcano earlier, I was quick to choose Tepig. I named it Avdol because Embor is a buff fire creature just like Avdol's ability from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure called Magician's Red. I do want to state that the nickname is meant purely because I thought it was cool and not to disrespect any culture. If you know, you know. I'm not going to explain further. Pretty much immediately, Avdol evolved into a Pig Knight, and I got to say the team is shaping up pretty well. I made my way to Crater Town, where my only objective right now is to beat the gym. I met the Crater gym leader, who is a dark type specialist, and let's just say he's a bit crazy. Starts talking to himself while I'm right in front of him. I challenge him to a battle, and Pig Knight immediately proves its worth to the team. It manages to arm thrust its way through Liepard, Absol, and Sneasel with no help from the rest of my team. I got the vision badge, and I don't think I noticed the first time, but this gym badge animation is really funny to me for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. I straight up get kidnapped by the shadows and meet Zep, who is apparently behind this whole organization. They're basically pissed that I keep intervening with their plans, whether it was escaping from their base, trying to stop them from taking Articuno, or when I tried to stop them from taking Moltres. I'm forced to partake in a mini gauntlet where I battle Ivory and Zeph in a row. I promptly defeat them both as my team worked together in unison to take down their Pokemon. They are able to find out that I'm working with Jax and Arthur, but suddenly the whole place shakes as a grunt informs Zeph that a monster has appeared out of thin air. I have no clue what this is about, as all their grunts leave to protect the Shadow Warriors from this quote-unquote monster. What happens to me, you might ask? Well, Hoopa just shows up and teleports me away, and I'm just left clueless. I collect my thoughts, and right now, getting Rock Smash is my top priority. This task will reroute me towards Frost Mountain, where along the way, Tusk evolves into a Celio.
Opponent, our battle will be legendary.
Blood got caught lacking in 8K highest definition with IMAX. I go ahead and wake him up, and he just brings a battle on me, which I obviously win, but his Gabite did give me some trouble. I managed to finally make it to Blizzard City after a long trek, and once again, my first objective after turning up to a city is conquering its gym. This gym is a flying type with constant tailwind on her side, which already is unfair, but this bitch has the audacity to talk about how trainers need to create their own opportunities while having a never-ending speed boost always by her side. I was able to take out my frustration on her as Metang deals with the Doduo, Celio deals with her Ace Gliscor, while Metang returns to take out the Minior. That's another badge under our belt now, and things seem to be going by with a breeze. I get the ability to use Rock Smash outside of battle, and while exploring the city, I found Candice from the Sinnoh games. It was a pleasant surprise to see a familiar character, and she even challenged me to a battle. I was able to win the battle, and in anime-esque fashion, my Pig Knight evolved into an Embor, granting me an incredible power boost to the team. I used the KBT Expressway to make it to Fallshore City, where I get front row seats to watch Jax getting cooked by the shadows. This seems to happen quite often with both my rivals, as Dealer got knocked out not too long ago, and now Jax getting pushed aside kinda highlights how pretty much everything is up to me. My next objective is to find the secret underground pass to progress, because Ivory, the shadow admin, has put a psychic barrier blocking out any non-shadows from progressing. I find a random secret passageway in this house, and at the end of it, I have to traverse this whole forest. I did make good use of the training and even caught myself a Grubbin for the team, which I named Lithium. I managed to locate the shadow admin Ivory, and it escalates into a situation. The Shadows have seemingly stolen the Prison Stone, which is an extremely important item to help bring Hoopa its power back, and also turn the old couple that they stole it from into Shadow Warriors, which are like undead creatures designed purely as a weapon. Slightly unnerving. It also doesn't help that in order to make a Shadow Warrior, you have to fuse a Pokemon with a human, which doesn't make much sense. Dealer and I managed to defeat the Shadow Warriors, which magically turns them back into the old couple. They say that the Shadows are probably heading to the Ruins of Void so they can break the seal on Hoopa's power. To do that, I need the HM for strength to get to the Ruins of Void, which, by the way, what's the deal with that? I'm on a mission to save the world, and by doing the gyms, I'm giving the villains plenty of time to set their plans in motion, but I need to do the gyms to get the HMs. I make my way to the gym, and while doing the gym puzzle, my Grubbin evolved into a Charger Bug. The gym fight went pretty bad because the gym leader uses inverse type matchup and is a normal type specialist. I managed to push through as Embor did the heavy lifting at the end of the fight. Fall badge secured. As I exit the gym, Mel, the gym leader that I just fought, tips me off on Shadows talking about me and Thundercap Mountain. He gives me the HM for Fly, but slight problem, none of my Pokemon can fly. It's a matter of no issue though, as I quickly caught myself a Zubat which I named Azrael. Making my way to Thundercap Mountain, Zubat immediately evolves into Golbat. I make it to the mountain's entrance where Mel helps me take out a Shadow Grunt. He then leaves because he needs a massage or something, but he's helped me enough, I prefer to work alone. Making my way through the mountain, I had an influx of evolutions where Charjabug evolved into a Vikavolt, Celio evolved into a Walrein, and Metang evolved into a Metagross. Nice. Anyway, Marlin, one of the Shadow admins, has successfully caught Zapdos and consequently caught all of the legendary birds. Just one slight problem. Me. I cooked Marlin in battle and he was forced to release the Zapdos. Wait, what? But he wasn't forced. Did he just willingly release Zapdos? Is Marlin a nice guy? Well, that's it for Pokemon Reborn. We beat the evil team. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'm just kidding. Of course, the story continues. I'm told to head Ptarmigan Mansion, which is like an unofficial gym, but more importantly, it's a rite of passage to acquire Mega Evolution in this region. I clash with the mansion leader Maxima, and while she flexes her Mega Altaria, Red X is able to take it down with one hit. Gym 4.5 defeated. No, but like, seriously, this feels like a checkpoint of sort in the game, but it's not really a gym fight, so whatever. I decide that it is finally time for my final team member to join the squad. I figured I wanted the best I could get, and eventually settled on the legendary Zygarde. Zygarde cells are spread all around the region, and if I collect them, I can create a Zygarde construct for my team. Eventually, I'll get the whole thing, but for now, with 10% of the Zygarde cells, I added Sirius the Zygarde to the team. Anyhow, I figured it was a good idea to head towards the city nearest to the Ruins of Void, which is Dahara City, and along the way I stumble upon Dealer and Professor Log. The professor tells me I should visit Jax in Dahara town to learn about the Ruins of Void. I also stumble upon a Marlin cutscene. He laments about his failure but actually self-reflects and realizes that the Shadows have taken extreme measures to achieve their goals and decides he wants to be with his children instead. However, out of nowhere, the grunt in possession of Hoopa just disintegrates Marlin from thin air. What? This grunt in question seems to imply that through the means of technology, Marlin has been sent to a pocket dimension of sorts. I mean, at least he isn't dead. The grunt forces Hoopa to summon a different Zapdos from somewhere else, which Hoopa succeeded in, but it had hiccups along the way, summoning a random bag on its very first try. It seems the grunt in possession of Hoopa, while working with the Shadows, plans to betray them later on in order to achieve his own goals. As he and Hoopa portal off, I decide to check what's in the bag. Cosmog? What? Okay. So apparently we just get handed a Cosmog. I mean, I'll take it, but can't say I expected it. It's been a weird run of events, but on the bright side, my Golbat evolved into a Crobat. I meet Jax outside the Dahara game corner where he tells me I need the gym badge to use Surf, which honestly pissed me off, but Hoopa came in clutch by portaling Jax and I straight to the entrance of the Ruins of Void. Jax tries to do his hero thing but ends up failing, leaving a Staraptor critically injured and unattended. Guess who has to clean up his mess? I navigate my way through the Ruins of Void where I have to prove myself to this mythical clay doll. I had to beat all 3 legendary beasts to prove myself, which is really random, but finally I catch up to the shadows. I was too late, however, as the summoning had already begun. As Zeph, the leader of the shadows, releases the dark power, nothing happens. And then Aklov steps up. Aklov is actually Hoopa's trainer, and well, he infiltrated the shadows, giving them information about the prison bottle and the dark power, but conveniently left out one key detail. The vessel needed to house the dark power, Hoopa itself. In fact, Hoopa knew that Aklov wanted to summon the dark power, which is why it has been portaling me to its location and helping me out because it prefers me as its trainer for an unforeseen reason. Aklov then finishes the summoning, unleashing Hoopa Unbound. He claims he's the descendant of the King of Kalos and simply wants to win the war by using Hoopa to fire the ultimate weapon and destroy Boreas. He asks Hoopa to summon the legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh and Lugia to try and stop me, but when that failed, he threatened my mother, which forced me to stand down and be absorbed by his cube and go out the very same way Marlin did. Whoa, this feels cool. It's like being in Area Zero in Pokemon Scarlet, but now it feels a lot more weird. I'm in the cube, the item that stores all of the other items that I have, and upon jumping around for a while, I meet Marlin and someone I don't recognize. Lo and behold, it's my dad. Plot twist, totally didn't see that coming. Random dude at the beginning of the game asked Hoopa to protect me and Hoopa taking a liking to me. Damn. Detective Batman needed to solve this mystery because oh boy, I sure couldn't. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm playing into this Batman bit way too much. Anyway, emotional stuff and such, we get to the gist of the situation. There's this lady called Faye, leader of the Science Society. She was working with the shadows, but Aklov gave her more scientific freedom to study Hoopa with his plan, so she went along with him, betraying the shadows. Faye also is the one that trapped my dad in the cube all those years ago, potentially to seize Hoopa. Anyways, apparently my dad can help Marlin and I escape because we both have the 3rd generation cube, which allows him to tinker with the GPS or something. However, he can't because he had the 2nd generation cube, so sucks to be you, man. I'll be off now, thanks for the help. So now I have a new objective. There's a new evil team led by Aklov called the Light of Ruin, and basically I want to stop their shadow Pokemon operations. Turns out the 2nd gym leader Vega works for Faye, so I didn't like him anyway. Anyhow, Faye happens to have the red orb and happens to give it to Vega, who happens to be in a volcano. What are the odds? Anyway, Marlin and I get separated because Stone Edge from Groudon, so I lend my Pokemon to Marlin so he could take down the Primal Groudon. My next task is to infiltrate the Shadow Base to do some detective work and find more info on Faye, as well as to recruit Zeph to stop Aklov. That sounds very reasonable to recruit the guy that's been trying to stop us this whole time. Let's go. In other news, upon sweeping the base, I found myself a Metagrow site. I'm going to enjoy this. I meet Marlin and Zeph, and well, Zeph still thinks I died or something, so I had to fight him. I've been waiting to do this, man. Mega Metagrows, let's go. Finally, I learned about why they founded the Shadows. They come from similar backgrounds, both being scientists, and more unnervingly, both lost their firstborn child. Since they were scientists, along with Ivory, who is Marlin's wife, team up to research how to bring the dead back to life. On a side note, turns out Marlin and Ivory are my rival Dealer's parents, so yeah, that's cool. Anyway, they first researched Shadow Warriors, combining the DNA of the dead with Pokemon. When that venture produced no result, they turned to the ultimate weapon, believing in the legend that AZ used it to bring back his Floette. That led them to Hoopa Unbound, which of course, as we know now, Aklov had manipulated to pursue his own objective to destroy Boreas, quote-unquote winning the war. Enough of all that, I need to learn to surf and I need a gym badge for it. This guy is an electric specialist and his gimmick is that ground moves don't work in his gym. Very convenient for him, of course. Nevertheless, Mega Metagross, Zygarde 10%, and Vikavolt and Ember played a massive part in brute forcing my way through the gym leader's Pokemon and winning me the gym badge. I meet up with Dealer and Jax's grandfather Arthur as we compare notes. I tell Dealer and Arthur everything I know, but one main concern arises. Jax has been missing since the Light of Ruins debacle. He is a competent trainer in his own right, but after I was captured by the Light of Ruin in the Ruins of Void, Jax seems to have gone missing. Dealer confirms this as well as he went to check out the Ruins of Void and no one was there. We try to stay optimistic as now I am instructed to head to Vivaltown to tackle the Light of Ruin alongside Dealer. I head to Town and start the ordeal immediately. While Dealer and I were figuring out what to do at the entrance, the shadows show up and bomb the side of the mountain where Town is and attack the Lighted Ruin, which gives Dealer and I an opening at the entrance. I charge my way through the base where I need a password to progress through the gate. As self-obsessed as Aklov is, the password ends up being his name. I should have seen that coming. Beyond the gate is Shadow Admin Ivory, who has betrayed the shadows for the Lighted Ruin so she could use the ultimate weapon to revive her son. I guess Aklov didn't tell her his whole plan of destroying Boreas. Speaking of him, he portals his way into the room proclaiming that he will find the whereabouts of the ultimate weapon, and that's when Dealer enters the room. Dealer threatens Zeph about where his parents are and then just straight up mocks Aklov. Not a very smart decision as the guy can portal you away. As Aklov is about to do just that, Ivory intercepts Aklov and brings up a deal she made with Aklov. It takes a second but finally everything clicks. The deal was that her children weren't harmed, which included Dealer. Aklov burst into laughter learning this, and Dealer is grief stricken after finding out his parents were bad people. Honestly, I feel for the guy. Aklov then portals Dealer and Marlon away to a safe location. Zeph tries to run but gets portaled away, and I don't know where he went. He might be dead for all I know. Aklov then challenges me to a fight, and it really does not go well for him. Yeah, Pokemon Unbound looks scary, but Vikavolt dispatched it easily. Mega Metagross picked up the double kill at the end, and I must say, it was not an impressive showing from Aklov. None of that really mattered as he portaled me away to the Distortion World, and look who we have here. My guy Jax. At least he's alive, that's all we can really ask for. In other news, we are stuck in the Distortion World. I explore the world and eventually find myself face to face with Giratina. And well, it was a 6v1, so naturally the fight is pretty easy, but I didn't expect it to be this easy. It's a 6v1, so it shouldn't be really difficult. I think Crobat can do some damage and I'll get someone else to deal with him. Bite. We got the flinch, okay. We got the flinch. Can we get 2 flinches in a row? We got the flinch in a row. 3 flinches in a row. We did not get the flinch. Dragon Claw connects. How much does this do? Less than half, which means if it doesn't flinch, which it doesn't, Dragon Claw will connect and I will survive, which means my next bite will kill. We won. Nice. An exit opens up upon beating Giratina, which Jax and I used to escape. Jax, myself, Arthur, and Dealer somehow compare notes. Real quick, Dealer escaped really quickly. Honestly, respect. Apparently, while they were being relocated somewhere, Dealer took the opportunity to escape. He even gathered useful info and shared that the Lighted Ruin were headed to the Crystal Peak. Arthur puts 2 and 2 together and concludes that the ultimate weapon is already in Boreas. To get to the Crystal Peak, I need to get Fly by beating the next gym. World-ending crisis, and I still need to fight the gym. My goodness. The next gym is located in Antisis City, a very apparently crime-ridden area. There's a bunch of gangs running around the city causing all sorts of ruckus, and even the Poke Center is run by a hooligan. He charges me 500 Pokédollars to heal my Pokemon. What a scam! I head to fight the gym leader, Big Mo, and well, I actually ran into him while getting into the city. This gym was the easiest major fight I've had in this game. His team is built so that not all of his Pokemon are weak to the same types. However, Mega Metagross seems to be the perfect counter to his team. A Zen Headbutt on Mienshao knocks it down as the switching in Pangoro threatens my dark weakness. Unluckily for Big Mo, Mega Metagross outspeeds and fires off a Hammer Arm, ensuring Pangoro went down. Hariyama took a Zen Headbutt to the face and went down, and his final Pokemon, Lucario, despite Mega Evolving and firing off an Aura Sphere, it was still too fragile to withstand a Hammer Arm from Metagross, and thus I won the battle. I claimed my ring badge and I figured it was time for a team upgrade. At this point I had collected 50% of the Zygarde cells, so now I could upgrade my Zygarde construct to its serpent form. I head to the next city called Seafloor City so I can take a boat with Jax and Arthur to Eastern Boreas where the Crystal Peak is located. The plan is for Jax and Arthur to head forward to the Crystal Peak while I get another gym so I can use Rock Climb. I head to the gym and challenge its leader Tessie, who fun fact was in a relationship with Mel, the normal type gym leader that helped me before. This fight was definitely a challenge. Her Mega Gyarados managed to take out 3 of my Pokemon, including my ace Mega Metagross. Zygarde was able to come through with a generational performance to take down the rest of her team, but that was a lot more tricky than I expected. Badge 7 acquired. I make my way to the Crystal Peak, but before I enter, my rival dealer is waiting for me. He wants to test my power and see if I'm ready to take on the mountain with him. The battle gets pretty tense as his Mega Garchomp overpowers my Zygarde. This ultimately resulted in a battle of the Mega Starters as my Mega Metagross and his Mega Garchomp faced off against each other. I would end up being victorious though, as Metagross takes on Garchomp with 2 Iron Heads and the rest of my team handles the rest. Dealer and I team up to tackle the mountain where we take down Grunt and even face off against the Unova Dragons courtesy of Hoopa. If it wasn't evil enough for Ivory to join the evil team, betray her husband and kids, and support destroying the region, she uses her Alakazam to knock out her own son. I managed to take her down with the help of Dealer's Pokemon so that he could help beat her in spirit. At this point, I'm happy to help Dealer with anything because his family is very complicated. I'm very close to the top of the mountain where I come across Marlon and Dealer's sister imprisoned by the Light of Ruin. I help to free them, which gives Marlon the opportunity to ask for forgiveness, and while obviously Marlon did some pretty messed up stuff, Dealer is able to understand why he did what he did. More importantly, he gave me the prison bottle so I can trap the dark power away from Hoopa, saving it from itself and saving it from Aklov. I reach the peak of the mountain and meet with Arthur and Jax. From a distance, we observe Aklov activating the ultimate weapon in order to destroy Boreas. It's kinda cool how Jax, Arthur, Dealer and I have banded together to prevent the destruction of the region. As the weapon begins charging up, Jax storms in with his Gastrodon and uses Earth power to damage the base of the weapon. An incredible display of quick thinking from Jax. As Aklov tries to use Hoopa to portal Jax away, Jax for a second time showcases his intellect by having Gastrodon hold them down with its ability Sticky Hold to prevent getting sucked in by Hoopa's portal. I'm honestly super impressed with Jax right now. His moves and choice in Pokemon was clearly calculated and helps Boreas massively. This gives everyone their cue to join the quote-unquote war effort. Jax manages to keep Aklov occupied while Dealer and Marlon keep Ivory occupied. As for me, I have to save Hoopa. Hoopa, still in its Unbound form, attacks me alongside the Mega Rayquaza it had summoned. Hoopa went down pretty easily and the Mega Rayquaza soon followed. With Hoopa weakened, I bring out the prison bottle and lock away the dark power that engulfed Hoopa. Aklov, furious, decided to release Hoopa as he deemed it weak and useless. Hoopa more than willingly left and decided to join my side and be in the box. Look, I'm happy with my team. Aklov then battles me in retaliation, but come on now. You didn't beat me then, you won't beat me now. However, we still have trouble. The Earth power from Gastrodon only slowed down the charging process of the machine. The weapon fires off and bang. Well, would you look at that? Zeph had used the distraction to remain hidden, changed the ancient weapon setting from destroying the region to reviving a person. He uses that to revive his son, foiling Aklov's plan and saves the region. Honestly, I have enjoyed the game so much, but man, this resolution to the plot feels like such a cop-out. To make the whole situation worse, Aklov just leaves. Like straight up with no resistance, just leaves. And guess what? Ivory also leaves. And we all sit there and let it happen. And then Arthur shows up with the Rangers, arrests Zeph, consequently leaving his revived son without a father. And then, Dealer decides to dump his daddy issues and wants me to team up with him to battle and take out Marlon. No, this is definitely an appropriate time to do this. We totally didn't save the region from destruction and then proceed to let the perpetrators flee. I am so lost for words. I have been thoroughly enjoying this game, but what? This whole build up to the climax of the plot has been amazing, but resolving it like that? It just leaves a sour taste. I just want to finish the game now, so my next destination is Redwood Village, to face the 8th and final gym. The gym gimmick is actually super unique and something I don't think is ever seen before. When a Pokemon is defeated, it regresses to an earlier state, and the only faint when they can't regress anymore. Meaning, a 3-stage evolutionary line has 3 lives with the restriction that with each life it gets weaker. It's an interesting gimmick in concept, but really it only prolonged the inevitable. I got the final gym badge, which means I can now head to the Pokemon League. Before any Pokemon League comes to Victory Road. At its entrance, I met Professor Log, who congratulated me on my triumphs in saving the region. I'm still a bit mad about how everything was resolved, but I've had fun with this game for the most part, so that's all that matters. The Victory Road was an arduous trek, complete with a cave system, a maze area, a mountain climb, and a treacherous ice puzzle. Don't forget the trainers along the way as well.
I made it. That took a long time, but I'm here.
Let's go. So here we are right before the Elite Challenge. I will be introducing all 6 of my Pokemon, their movesets as well as their typing. First up we have Sirius, the Serpent form Zygarde. It is a Dragon Ground type with the moves Coil, Dragon Pulse, Crunch, and Lance Wrath. We have Azrael the Crobat, Cross Poison, Leech Fang, Acrobatics, and Toxic. It is a Flying and Poison type. We have Lithium the Vikavolt. It's an electric and bug type with the moves Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Energy Bolt, and Bug Buzz. Next up we have Abdol the Emboar with the move Head Smash, Fire Punch, Break, and Bulk Up. It is a fire fighting type. Next up we have Tusk the Walrein with the moves Body Slam, Ice Beam, Rest, and Surf. It is a water and ice type. And lastly our starter, Red X the Mega Metagross with Hammer Arm, Iron Head, Bullet Punch, and Zen Headbutt. It's time for the Pokemon League and I was excited to say the least. However, I was not prepared for the characters that made up this Elite Four. It was filled with a bunch of gag characters. First off, the Mole Man. Who dares enter the domain of the Mole Man, Surface Dweller? For years, my fellow mole people and I have lived below ground with only ground-type Pokemon and the earth itself. In that role, without sunlight, we tempered our spirits and grew strong, and yet you tried to establish dominance over us as your ancestor did many years ago. Very well, learn the wrath of the mole people and the very earth. He's definitely one of the characters in this game, that's for sure. Next up, probably the most messed up character in the Elite Four, Elias. Apparently, he had served the Elite Four for a long time when he was alive. Keywords, when he was alive. He dies, but I don't know, the Boreas government just digs up his body and put a ghost Pokemon in him. That is so scuffed. Next up, we have Acrobella, a literal child. If you read her dialogue, it says her dad was fired from the league, and when she was appointed, whenever she gets paid, she has to share it with her dad. That is literally describing a deadbeat dad. The final member is just a weirdo. She's a Dragon-type superfan, but her mannerisms are questionable. Grar. Okay, man. You don't say that in conversation. I don't even know why I said it myself. That was weird. And that, my friends, is one of the most scuffed Elite Four you will ever see. I can see why they weren't helping when the region was in danger. Well, that's the Elite Four done. I guess I'm the champion now, but we all know that's too good to be true. I'm guessing either Dealer or Jax is going to stop me and challenge me to a final fight. I'm predicting it's gonna be Jax because Dealer got his whole arc with his parents. My prediction ends up being true and we are going to have one final fight against Jax. It's a shame because I actually prefer Dealer, but oh well. The fight being a double battle was indeed trickier by nature, but my Walrein was super clutch, taking down his Mega Salamence and his iconic Staraptor. The Gastrodon he used at the Crystal Peak also made a quick cameo, but my Mega Metagross swiftly took it down. With that, we did it! Champion of the Boreas region. Honestly, I don't think I will ever get tired of watching a new team of mine register themselves into the Hall of Fame. It is so satisfying. I head back to my hometown where Marlin, Dealer, and Professor Log congratulate me for becoming the champ, and as I head home to check on my mom... Aw man, not this BS again. So this pathetic excuse of a human Aklov decides to kidnap my mother and tells me to come into the depths of the ruins of Void alone. Naturally, I have to do something about that, so I thought, hey, while my mother's life is on the line, right now is the perfect time to gather all these Zygarde cells. As I'm doing that, why don't you hit the like and subscribe button, as it really means a lot. Thank you very much. So I collected all these cells and now I have 100% Zygarde. It's still in its serpent form, but once it reaches below half HP, it will transform into the green Optimus Prime.
Autobots, roll out!
So it turns out Aklov kidnapped my mother, Arthur, and Zeph's newly revived son. He also told Jax to come and goes into this monologue about how he's gonna try again. I don't really care for that too much as I'm trying to see Zygarde in action.
Bruh.
Aw man, that was gonna be so cool. 100% Zygarde will show up in the final major battle and it dies. That sucks. I beat Aklov anyway, and then Marlin shows up, talks down on Aklov, and then lets the cops arrest him, so that's that. I'm gonna see this no matter what. Elite Four rematch. There we go. I sense the presence of many. Let's go. I did all of that for that. Very cool.